rebounds. I know that you talked about, the challenging night, 8 of 28 shooting night, but you came back with an incredible 42 points tonight. How do you mentally and physically prepare for such a turnaround like that? Like, you flip that switch. I mean, I've been professional and everything, but I just want to, get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a part of the game. I wish I could shoot perfect every game. I wish I could shoot above 50% every single game, but that's not always the case. And I try to find myself. I give myself 24 hours to not just linger in it and feel sorry for myself, yeah, I just kind of take, like I said, take what the defense gives me, see what the next day looks like, see how they're guarding me, and kind of go from there. But I'm the type of person where I don't let a lot of things linger because it takes you out of the moment. And so I try to give everything its own space. So that was Chicago, cool, did that, awful, bricked it, cool. And then I kind of flew into this game with the same mindset I went into the Chicago game, like just doing what the defense gives me. And if they fall, they fall. If they don't, I'm going to try to still be productive for my team. And so today it was this, but we didn't get the win, so none of that matters.
That's a follow-up question for Chelsea. You missed the last game that y'all were there when we played the Wings. From your perspective, how can you explain how that matched up? Y'all matched up then and then versus you watching the game and then you're playing in the game. So what's the difference between then and now? Obviously, the big one is the loss, but what did you see tonight with this Wings team versus how y'all played tonight?
I mean, they were also different because they didn't have Natasha Howard and Satu. So the matchups, the movement, their plays, everything is different when you're missing two players like that. And then the rebounding as well. And so that changes the nature of the game when the matchups are a little bit different. And so it came down, I don't know, it was 26 to 40 rebounding and then points in the paint. So they're a huge part of that, rebounding and points in the paint.
Yeah, Chelsea, I know you and Chris Paul are very close. I know he supports women's basketball. He said earlier this year that he wants to invest at some point when he retires in the WNBA. Thoughts about that from his friend's perspective, and then also just the males trying to actually invest in you guys' game, pretty much.
I think investment is key no matter who it is, male or female. I think the relationship, he's been a fan of our game and been around it for a long period of time, and he's seen a bunch of players come through our league. Investment, no matter who it is, you see in the product, and if we just can expand from there, I believe.
Mike Vogel.
Yeah, Asia and Chelsea, I wonder if you guys could comment on this. It feels like at this point in the year, records don't mean as much as what the teams you're playing look like. And we saw that obviously yesterday with Washington having a couple of injured players back, with Satu back, and as you mentioned, Natasha Howard. How difficult does that make sort of for these games down the stretch, and that you have these teams like a Dallas or Washington who aren't playing with a lot of pressure, but are better than they've been earlier in the season? I wonder how difficult that makes some of these matchups.
Well, it changes when you, like you said, when you have injuries and people coming back into lineups, and so they're looking like their full form and looking like their team. With Washington, you have Sykes coming back, Shakira Austin, and then, like I said, you have Satu and Howard coming back. But they're just like in this league, like anybody can be beat, anybody can win. So there's a lot, like the records really don't paint the whole picture. And there's a lot more, what's it called, parody, whatever, and throughout in the standings and stuff. Like everybody is trying to play their best basketball heading in September and into October.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, ladies.
given that record, it doesn't really reflect their actual level of play. Could you just break down, what happened, during the course of the game from your perspective, and what led up to, the collapse at the end?
Well, we didn't defend, we fouled, and we didn't rebound. And we shot the three terrible again. So it's a bad combination. Some of those things are in our control, some of them aren't. Nobody's trying to miss shots. But it's tough to win on the road when you shoot, 5 for 20, 5 for 19, 26%, and then just get handled in the paint. Now, it didn't really matter who I put in there. Big, we got handled. Small, we got handled. So then you try to switch gears. Well, it's like you're not stopping anybody, you're not rebounding. But I mean, when you look down and Asia and Jackie are high rebounders with 6, that's not going to get it done. Megan, 11 minutes, 0 rebounds. Alicia Clark, 22 minutes, 0 rebounds. Like, it's tough when you don't rebound the ball. And then we fouled too much. So we fouled the 3-point shooters. And then gave up 32 in the fourth quarter. So that's on us. We have to figure out how to get stops down the stretch when it matters. And we haven't shown the ability to, keep leads, which is disappointing. But with a team like this, who I think is super high-powered offense, you have to defend. Giving up 93 points, like, we're not that good offensively this year to give up 93. We're not. We haven't shot it well. We haven't moved it well enough. So you better defend. 90 points is enough to win a game. I guess not when you give up 93, though. That's not good math for us.
And obviously, Sato and Natasha wasn't here last. Can you talk about their impact on the game as well?
Well, I mean, they're 3-level scorers, both of them. I thought Satu got off early, way too comfortable, just came off pick and rolls, nobody's there. Like, at some point, people have to take accountability. Like, I'm sorry, but you have to be up and pick and roll. You have to be. You have to block out your man. You have to go help the bigs when they have those big bodies in there crashing every time. Like, when you know exactly what the other team needs to do and you can't handle it, that's concerning.
So how do you address those concerns?
I can't make them do it. They have to do it. What am I going to do? Pull them out? Like, anybody I put in there didn't rebound. That was the whole deal. And on a game where we do a great job moving our feet, being active, we don't foul them on shooting fouls in the first half. And then what did they shoot? 19 in the second half. So it's a foul shot per minute. You're not winning games like that. You're just not. And that's just about moving our feet. And it was 1 through 5, whoever I put out there. It falls back on all of us at the end of the day.
Mike Volpe? Vopel? Sorry. I don't know where Volpe came from.
Volpe, is that a nickname?
No, what is
Yeah,
it?
that's
Friend
fine.
I ran high school track.
Oh,
Taking on a new last name, Becky.
I see that.
But actually, I wanted to ask you a little bit. I asked the players how dangerous it can be to sort of face these teams down the stretch that have gotten players back either through injury or whatever. I mean, we saw that with Washington yesterday. We've seen, I believe, now Dallas has scored 113 points and 93 points in 2 games. How difficult is that? I know you're not happy with your defense, but how tough is it that some of these teams are really still alive and kicking, if you will?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, your studs got to play like studs. All three of their horses played like horses tonight. And I mean, Asia was a monster. Did a decent game from Jack. I thought KP was getting downhill, getting people involved. She probably had, she only had 5 assists, but probably had 5 or 6 hockey assists. So she was doing a great job distributing. Didn't necessarily shoot it, but she was doing some other good things for us. And then we get a pretty good game out of Chelsea. But the rest got to do more around it. And it had to do more with the defensive end tonight than the offensive end. I mean, 5 for 19, but the fouling and the rebounding, I mean, really, really tough. And we know the deal. We know the deal with them. You know, we've played them in playoff series. We know how they win games. I was disappointed with the 20 defense, though, the fouling, undisciplined, not communicating, messing up on some reds. And I thought just Satu and Enrique were in our paint downhill, wreaking havoc, and then we fouled.
Can the defense, you've talked about defensive issues really since before the season started, that you had concerns about it. Is there still time for that to get better, or can it get better?
Yeah, I mean, it can, it can get a lot better, clearly. But it's the attention to detail. Like, the butter shots in the first half, you could go back there. Fouling the 3-point shooters. Like, there's ways that we can shave off points just by being disciplined, being alert. Enrique comes and hits that 3, and our big is back. Like, there's 2 seconds left. Of course she's going to shoot it, and we're 5 feet away from her, 6 feet away from her. Like, those buckets end up to come back to like really bite you. And the fact, like I said, that we couldn't defend our lunch in the second half.
Let's close it out with Asia.
Asia.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
This is Asia from Daily Swish. I was just going to ask you, I know you touched up a little bit on the positive insights there, but what were some other positive key things that you noticed throughout the game?
I'm not really that positive right now, Asia. You'll have to catch me on another day. I'm furious with our defense in the second half.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, cool.